today we're gonna recap the 2002 drama film called The Unfaithful. Let's get started. The movie starts in New York Suburb, show a successful happy family of Edward and his wife Connie and their young son Eric. One day Connie leave home for work in New York City. After duty she tries call a taxi. Because of poor weather condition in the city she collides with a young handsome man named Paul. She falls on the sidewalk and injures her knee. Paul, noticing that she had injured her knee, he invites her to his home to get first aid. Connie then calls her son left at home using Paul's apartment phone. Their communication continues and Paul reveals to Connie that he was 26 years surviving by selling rare books. As she leaves, Paul gives her a book as a souvenir and instructs her to read a wonderful passage from page 15. Reaching home, his son Eric notifies the bruise on her knee. He then takes pictures of her. Connie narrates the whole scenario to her husband Edward, telling him that a young man called Paul saved her life in the Windy City. The next day Connie goes through the book that he got from Paul and a business card falls down. Next time she visits the city at the metro station, Connie decides to give Paul a friendly call. Paul asks her to pass by for a coffee, which Connie accepted. At the apartment, Paul makes her a unique coffee and shows her books written in French language. He then holds her hand softly as she reads the passage from the book. Connie then leaves to her husband Edward's office and gives him a blue jumper. She informs him that she will be working at the auction with Bob. Edward gets suspicious of her, but she didn't notice it. The following morning Connie visits Paul's apartment and he asks a dance with her. Connie then gets a second thought not to do something foolish. She tries to leave, but before she gets her caught, Paul grabs her and puts her down and clapping her. On the train getting back home, Connie tries to remember what she had done with a stranger. The scene then changes to Edward talking to his friend Bob. He gets to know that Connie never had any auction arrangements with Bob. Connie starts visiting Paul's apartment regularly, getting into a full-blown secret affair. Seated at lunch with Paul, Edward's office partner Bill sees her having fun and kissing with another man. Reaching home overwhelmed by fantasy, Connie tries to get a cold bath in the bathtub. She later realizes a love sticker that Paul had drawn on her body. Edward gives her a drink and joins her in the tab. He begins to have a moment with her, but Connie gets away from her, claiming she was getting cold. The scene then changes to Connie telling her husband that she had to go to saloon for beauty massage. Edward's suspicion grow higher after seeing the brand new lingerie that Connie had shopped. Later he calls the saloon office and confirmed his suspicion because they had no booking with Connie. On her way to Paul's apartment, Connie meets her friends Tracy and Sally and she accepts to join them at the cafe. She then calls Paul, informing him that she will come late because she was stuck having some time with friends at the nearby cafe. Within no minute Paul comes to the cafe. Connie feels uncomfortable and asks to go to ladies' restrooms. Paul meets her in the ladle's room and claps her. After they go together to apartment and have more happy moment. Connie informs Paul of her anxiety of coming to the city to him. Having a job argument, Edward fires Bill and angry Bill informs him that there are things about his family that he is not aware of. Edward's worries forces him to hire a private investigator named Frank to spy on his wife. Then Edward takes a one-day business trip to Chicago. The investigator uses this full moment to take pictures of Connie and her new young lover. Connie and Paul moves around the city, even forgetting to care for his son. Edward returns from Chicago. The investigator gives him a full package of pictures of the investigation and Paul's address. Edward decides to confront Paul. He enters his apartment. Paul gives him a drink and responds to all these constant questions. Edward moves around the apartment, seeing everything curiously. He then notices the snow globe that he gave to Connie as a gift, who then gave it to his boyfriend Paul. This makes him emotionally tense and loses control of his mind. He then hits Paul with the globe on the head and he falls down. After regaining his conscious, Edward regrets what he had done and tries to call 911. Later he gets a second thought and decides to cover up the evidence. Puts Paul's dead body in the blanket and takes it away. Edward then goes to ERIK's school to attend a kids' talent show where he sits near his wife Connie. He later dumps Paul's dead body to garbage dumping site and takes his car for clean wash to remove all the evidence. Soon after, the police arrives at Edward's home investigating the disappearance of Paul that his wife filed to the police. Connie tells them that he never knew Paul, but officer tells him that a piece of paper was found in Paul's apartment with Connie's phone number. Connie tells the police that he had gone to buy rare books from him. The police officers leaves his contact with her. A few days later the police returns to Edward's home and informs them that Paul's body was found at the garbage site. The police questions Connie how he met Paul and she tells that it was during the city concert. Seeing the naked lies of his wife, Angry Edward tells the police to leave before his wife is overpressed. Realizing Paul's uncertain death, Connie cries silently as Edward watches her from a distance. The following morning, Connie finds the package of his pictures with Paul having fun on the streets in her husband's jacket. Reaching home, she gets to know that the snow globe gift that she had given Paul was now in the house, confirming that her husband knew about Paul's death. At night, buried in shame, Connie decides to confront Edward, asking him what he did to Paul. Angry Edward gets bitter and tells her that he wanted to do it to her fast. Connie gets away in tears. The scene then changes to Connie, who decides to burn all pictures that the detective took her with Paul. Edward approaches her and suggests to tell the whole story to the police because he could not live with it, which Connie denied. Connie then rekindles the family love and tells Edward to change their family name, sell the house, and move to Mexico to start a new happy life. Thanks for watching.